Hey, how's it going? So here's the main idea of this assignment. And I looked at, and there's so many instructions that I wrote in here. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's actually easy to boil down pretty easily. I use the word easily a lot. So it's easy, right? Okay, so the main point of this is that we are looking at a discipline called sociology. And sociology allows you to go into any problem whatsoever. You could be talking about like technology, or you could be talking about food, or you could talk about big issues like gun battles in the streets during election years, or it could be really, really small issues like the availability of shoes for school kids or something like that. I guess that's not a small issue, but I digress. No one's going to die. So let me show you the database that you can do this assignment in. And specifically, we're looking for two scholarly articles. I'll show you what scholarly articles look like. And we are going to narrow it down to the last 10 years. And we're going to talk about a problem and a technology that could be the cause or the solution. And you get to you could pick up the issue. So here's the guide. And there's several places that you can go through this. But my favorite is Sociological Abstracts. That's a database from the library homepage also. And I'm also going to talk about like these Boolean operators. What's going on with all that? So I'll go into Sociological Abstracts and we'll do everything in one go. This database, you could type in anything. So let's do you remember how you put something in quotes? And enter nuclear energy. If you were in Google or if you were in the library catalog, you might get things on like nuclear energy, how to make it, or how to dispose of the fuel, or blah, 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 blah. Sociological Abstracts is looking at how communities, culture, and society, things that we just talked about today, are impacted, interact with it, how people feel, precedents, and things like that. And so when I go in, so here's like a political lobby, social consequences, how people feel about atomic weapons. It's all about the people. It's all about how they feel, how they react, how they act, concepts of like safety, belonging, all sorts of different things. If you want, you can add the operator and. So if I'm interested in nuclear energy, but I want to know how people feel about like their children, I can just type in that extra keyword, children, after an and. So what that means, it's going to look in sociology, it's going to look at everything and bring back the ones that have nuclear energy. And once it brings back that pile, the and says, I want you to then, in this search result, bring back everything that has both of those things in children. And you could keep on adding and education and safety. Every time you add an and, it's looking for a tighter and tighter search result. And so when we were looking at dress code today, we had that or statement in there. So I don't know if it was like education or instruction. So I can do that also. I can do those ors. But what you get when you do the and statement is you can see our keywords are highlighted. Children's safety, nuclear energy. Let me show you. Let me show you a scholarly article. So here's visual representations of radiation risk and question of public mistrust in post-Fukushima Japan. When you do a search, those keywords, it's not looking for concepts like it would in Google. It's actually looking for real words that are in here. There's not a lot of artificial intelligence interpreting, if any at all. It's actually looking for your keywords, and it's going to look for them in the title of the article. It's going to look for them in the abstract of the article. And it looks like it's looking at full text as well. I'm not sure how it bases the results. But a scholarly article, let me show you the full text PDF. It's a little easier to consume. Scholarly article, they all kind of follow this format where you're going to get There's not a lot of color. It's black and white. It's kind of like somebody wearing a lab coat. It's very official. The authors always show up. The dates always show up. It tells you who they are. The title has a lot of information in it, so you know exactly what you're getting into. Same thing with the abstract, like the thing that we did in class today. There's also keywords, where these are the words that the author thinks are the most important. And so when they call these keywords, you can actually search through those specifically in the advanced search. And then it goes into the article, which goes on ad nauseum forever. So the most important thing about the articles is pretty much like that first bit. So if the keywords don't show up in that first bit, then you know that it's not as important to the article. So let's go back to that search result. And let me show you an easier way of getting through it until you start to learn all the ands and the ors and everything. If you go to advanced search, and we did this today in class too, you could type in nuclear energy. So that could be one concept, and you can say, I want that one explicitly in the title of the document. You don't have to, or you could say just look in the abstract. And then here's that and. So then I can do children or schools or education or K through 12. So if I don't know what keyword it's going to show up, I can put all these different ideas in there. And then I can do another and. You see there's an and right there. And I can do another and with another concept. So what's a technology? Maybe it would be internet or social media. So maybe there's a way to talk to kids about nuclear energy in a good way on the internet or social media. So when you're looking at your assignment, you just have to look at a societal issue. It doesn't necessarily have to be a problem. And that can be anything you want. It says environmental or societal. I mean, you get to pick. It could be air pollution, anything you want. And a technology. So in this one, the technology actually is nuclear energy, but I could make the technology internet or social media. But every time I add a row, it gets into those things that I'm looking for. And you might have to cruise around. Since I only got 2 here, there's not a lot. And here you can see that whole thing. So each concept is spelled out, and they use the quotes, and they put it in parentheses for nesting. Isn't that cool? I love the advanced search because it does all that for you. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to get rid of this. See if I can make it bigger. Nuclear energy and children or schools or education. Yeah, there's 43. When it says that I need scholarly articles, you just click on scholarly journals, and Bob's your uncle. If it says I want something in the last 10 years, here's the date range. So I can just zoom into our current century. And I get sort of the older ones. So here's decision making, rethinking nuclear. These are all the ones that we're looking for. So the next part of the assignment, you need an APA citation. If I find this one, nuclear energy policy issues, say I like this one, citation generator is right here. You have to look at it though, because some things should be capitalized. Japan should be capitalized. Fukushima should be capitalized, because those are proper nouns. But other things, everything else should be lowercase. So you might have to check on stuff like that. The next thing, a quote from the article that makes a point. It doesn't have to be the main point. Just like we did today for the meme, just look in the abstract. Fukushima nuclear accident has become a turning point. Creating loss of public trust. That's a point. And no scholarly article is going to say something like that without backing it up with empirical evidence or first-hand accounts or systematic data gathering of somehow. And here's 5 key policy issues. So that's how you find that. And then lastly, your words. So when you put in the nuclear accident in Fukushima has created a loss of public trust. What you're going to have to do is read a little bit, and you're going to have to say, what does that mean? And so your own words might be, the lack of public trust might mean there's changes for voting. It might mean that people no longer want to work with public officials, or people are, so you might have to look through here. And so here we have like Prime Minister Abe talking about things, but maybe go in here and see, oh, here's loss of public trust. Maybe read a little bit and see, what does that mean? It could be that people who are in the fishing industry are just like, I'm not going to trust you guys anymore. We're going to gather our own data. This is something where you'd have to read a little bit. And lastly, you have to do 2 of them. And they have to be on similar topics, so or concepts like we searched for. So in that sociology database, I was looking at nuclear energy and education, and I have 18 to pick from. So hopefully this helps. Let me know how it goes, and I'm happy to help. Hand it in the next 2 weeks if you could, please, and I think that will be good enough. Thanks for talking to me.